Hi guys, welcome back. So, we have Lionsgate coming up, and I need to do a video on Lionsgate. And it's about like the Egyptians and stuff, the way like they would also notice the cycles of the sun. And Sirian is this planet that is more brighter than our actual sun is. And every time, and it's the most brightest on August 8th, so 8/8, and it like aligns against the pyramids. It's really cool. And it only happens, it happens once a year, but it's the cycle through. And they believe that it holds a lot of significance. And when we think about it, we have the Leo's sun, and Leo represents the sun. So we have a lot of light and a lot of things going on at this time. So a lot of things are going to become illuminated for people. And when you think about a lion too, I always think about the solar plexus, because when you think about chakras and stuff, they'll use animals as symbolisms for each individual chakras, and for some people it's a little bit different per animal. But for me, it's always been the lion for the solar plexus, because I always notice, even my little dog, he is a Leo. He's born August 1st, and he just always puffs out his little chest like a lion would, and I think it's the cutest thing, but he does that all the time. Like, he'll purposely just puff out his chest. And that's like a pride thing, when we have good posture, our solar plexus is sticking out more. So people kind of associate that with authority. When you think about lions and stuff, they demand a lot of respect. They're very powerful, amazing, beautiful creatures. And they have it's just this huge sense of power behind them. Well, for everybody, it's going to be affecting everyone a little differently, especially with your charts. But if you have, say, like a Leo rising, it might affect you, I say, almost a little bit more than most people. If you have a Leo sun, this is going to affect you. And if you have a Leo moon, it's definitely going to affect you the most. But if you have Leo anywhere in your chart, or even just looking at the house of Leo and the 6th house, it'll tell you, not the 6th, sorry, the 5th house, it'll tell you a lot about even what's kind of happening right now. But I kind of wanted to get on and just talk a little bit about just the main overall energy, and then try and narrow it down to the zodiacs, each individual zodiac sign. But when I think about the lion, I just think of beauty and the significance that is behind it. It amazes me how right now in the world, the way things are happening, a lot of us either have two options, and that is to become a martyr, complain about what's happening in the world, not doing much for yourself or your loved ones or other people around you. And then there's the other type of people that is like, okay, now it's time to take charge of my life. Say if I lost my job, I need to now find a job that I can do. Some of us are starting our own businesses, things like this. There's ways to help people, there's ways to make the world a little bit of a better place. And so right now, that's kind of what's happening. It's like, are you going to tap into that power that you have within yourself in order to go out and help the world, in order to help yourself as well? And honestly, not only that, but we're also reaching to a point where a lot of people, you're starting to see the corruption of power. A lot of people are starting to see parts of like our government and realizing a little bit of what's going on in the world. And a lot of people are starting to see through the illusions. And a lot of the people that are up in power, that have been abusing the power for so long, are starting to become more noticed, starting to become more seen. And we're starting to see a lot of world leaders losing their jobs, or just passing away, or things happening to where we're going to have new leadership and new authority eventually stepping up to the plate, because things are shifting, things are moving. And for some people, a lot of people have abused their power, and a lot of people still will abuse their power, especially when, like, a lot of people like to be assertiveness. But for those who are afraid or can be a little timid when it comes to inserting your boundaries, or when it comes to putting yourself first, or making sure that you and your loved ones are taken care of, that takes a lot of responsibility. It takes a lot of power. And to be able to, it's like manifesting that and to create something that's going to be beneficial for us. And honestly, I think a lot of people right now, when we think about the way that the world is going, you can kind of tell who is taking this easier than others. And right now is a really good time to become more creative. And when we also think about, like, a lion, you kind of think about a lion goes after what it wants. When a lion gets hungry, it goes for what it wants. No doubt about that. So right now, if you have anything that you want or desire, now's a good time to not necessarily like make massive purchases, but start really imagining it. Start really wanting to create it. We're going through a shift right now where I like to think that what we are believing and what we're creating at the moment is way more powerful than we even perhaps realize, because of just what's happening around the world. I think that a lot of us need to be a little bit more, I would say that some of us need to be a little bit more assertive with our decision making too. What are we putting our time and our effort into? And what are we willing to put up with, and what are we not willing to put up with? Let's see. So I'm going to just shuffle some of these cards. I don't really know what any of these really are. But I just figured I would shuffle these and see where it takes us. Okay. But I wanted to do it on camera just because I felt like I should. All right. Okay. So, I'm going to start with the tarot, and we're going to go from there and really kind of understand what we're experiencing as a whole, a collective. So we have the Nine of Pentacles. And I was kind of thinking about this too. A lot of people are either going to gain a lot of material wealth, or they're going to lose a lot of material wealth. So right now, everything's kind of shifting, and our money and our resources are getting moved around. We're seeing things where a lot of people are losing their jobs, or we're just going through a lot of hard times right now because things are shifting and things are kind of all of the energy is moving. It's like, when you think about it, we're slowly moving into the dawn of Aquarius. So things are shifting out, and a lot of people it's going to be kind of unsteady and unsure for a lot of people on what they're going to be doing, what they're going to be going through, especially now that we're going to be having our north nodes and our south nodes changing again, and we're going to have different things. Like our sky is almost like it's just shifting everything over a little bit more noticeable for most of us too. It's going to be a little bit more applicable, and a lot of people are going to be kind of going through a stage in where they're not going to be really sure what exactly is going on for them. They're not going to, a lot of people are going to be kind of uncertain when it comes to their gains and their materials. And this is why a lot of people have to think outside the box, or they have to tap into that solar plexus to be able to pick themselves back up and endure what it is that they need to go through. Right now would be an amazing time for a lot of people to be grounding. I know a lot of people right now are worried about their savings, so a lot of people are going to be trying and putting more money into savings and things, or using even their savings account because of what's happening. So it's like it's scary because a lot of people are losing that sense of security, which is making a lot of people panic. Now, the ones that I've noticed that are staying kind of calm, things are working out for them. I know that when things went down, I just knew I was going to be fine. I was going to be taken care of, and I have been this whole time. So learning to find gratitude and appreciation for the things that we need is what I feel like a lot of masses are lacking. When you look around and stuff, you always see people on social media consistently complaining about what's happening, and nobody's really gaining a sense of gratitude for what they have. Some do, but some of them are just, they're not. And you can always tell which people are more or less focusing on the negative and who's really focusing on the positive. So we have the Four of Wands. Yeah, everyone's focusing a lot on their stability and their foundations because a lot of people are losing their houses. A lot of uncertainty is happening right now. But what's really going on is it's shifting everybody's lives. A lot of people right now are going through massive changes. It's like every single person I've met so far has had something drastic happen in their lives. So it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of people are now focusing on not only their material wealth, but focusing a lot on their home life, their financial life, a lot of people are taking more action when it comes to their households, their properties. A lot of times too, especially I know a lot of people right now that are just remodeling things or trying to fix things that they kept putting off to the side. So now it's time to kind of be more contentive on what we're doing or with each other too. And a lot of more people are having to become more conscientious with their actions and how they can impact other people, especially around their space. So a lot of people are kind of going through this phase where they're starting to see things from a little bit of a higher perspective as well, and a lot of people are showing more gratitude, more appreciation. You can kind of see that a lot of people are shifting their mindsets. Also, a lot of people right now are questioning their family and their financial means with the family. A lot of people are questioning, especially when you think about it, if a lot of people did lockdown, they might be around family members or be around like their intimate partner and realize, oh my gosh, I can't stand this person. So a lot of, like, I almost feel like for some people, divorce rates might even go up. I also feel like a lot of people are going to have to knock down their resources and everything that they've had in their family and have to build it from the ground back up. Like, we're restructuring all of our lives. And on an energetic level, everybody is doing this lately, and it's slowly ramping up, because what's going to happen here too is a lot of people need to ground themselves at this time. A lot of people need to start building that foundation back up, because when August 8th rolls in, we're going to get a surge of all of this energy and all this power, and we're not going to know why. And a lot of us are going to either act recklessly, some of us are going to be more responsible. It just depends on how healthy of a person are you as well. And you're going to start seeing the masses kind of shifting and changing, even perspectives or parts of their lives just drastically, because some people, they're ramping up to this energy to where a lot of people don't want to feel stuck anymore. When a lion runs in the savannah, they live in the wide open. They don't like to be caged. So that's kind of what's happening for a lot of people. They're kind of unleashing parts of themselves that they never thought that they would, because they never thought they had. Yeah, a lot of relationships could come to an end, or it can strengthen them. But you're starting to see, a lot of people are starting to see more and more habits with their partner, or a lot of people are just kind of noticing perhaps even the flaws that their partner might have. A lot of people could be noticing little things, even about how they are how they even are in a relationship. So people are becoming a little bit more open to the idea of changing and leaving and moving forward through their lives, because right now, like I'm saying, I feel like the energy is ramping up and a lot of people are starting to kind of awaken to that inner self, that inner knowing. A lot of people are going to be following their instincts, or that your instincts will be a little bit more noticeable. You'll have more of like a gut reaction that's going to be a little bit more, it's going to nudge you a little more in one direction or another. But you're going to see a lot of relationships for what they really are too. And a lot of really uncomfortable emotions are going to probably be coming up in a lot of people, especially when it comes towards your own childhood scarring, or anything that, like, for instance, when we think about our home life as a child, your family could have used a lot of guilt or a lot of certain emotions against you. And now it's like, if you had immense guilt as a child, you might start feeling more guilty, or you might start noticing those emotions coming back up. A lot of the stuck emotions that we have are kind of coming back up to the surface again to be healed, because a lot of us are going through this cycle in where we're trying to close out a cycle to begin a new cycle. And this is kind of helping us push us through that cycle. Think about it like, because it is a portal, it's like the eight portal. When you think about portals and stuff, it gets you to one point to another point. It's almost like you teleport. It's trying to push people to that next phase, to where you can heal and let go of all these negative emotions and all this fear, which not only is on an individual scale, but on a mass collective scale as well. So here we have Pisces, which I thought was kind of interesting, because Pisces does play kind of a predominant role right now, especially because we're still in the age of Pisces. We're just near the end of it, though. It's almost like we're just at the tip of the fish's tail, like we're transferring over to Aquarius. And a lot of people right now, they're kind of starting to see things, and it's really weird, is things will start to make more sense to you. Things back in 2018, 2019, and just maybe even way back then, there's things that are now becoming more illuminated, and it's almost as though the veil is kind of being lifted for a lot of people. They're starting to see what, like I was saying, relationships for what they are. People are starting to find what is their truth. People are starting to kind of waken up and realize what's happening to the planet. Like, we're starting to become more consciously aware of how we're impacting the environment, how we're kind of keeping, how far society has really come, right? For some of us, we might realize that society hasn't really evolved much from the past 100 years or more that we've done this, but it really has a lot to do with how we are seeing ourselves and how we are seeing our world and our environment. So like I was saying, like ascendant, it's our outlook on life. And it's how a lot of us kind of see our purpose too, especially like right now, a lot of people are trying to figure out a job that they can do. Some people are making their own online businesses, stuff like this, to kind of give yourself a more higher foot up. Like we're working on creating new jobs, we're working on creating new ways to sustain the environment. I mean, people are starting to kind of have a whole new outlook on the world and how they see and perceive the world. And for some people, they really do see it in black and white. And a lot of the times, that is slowly shifting people into seeing the world as gray, like it's supposed to be. You know, there's not one full value in the world. So a lot of the times too, people are going to view their body differently. They're going to feel other people's auras around them more. People are going to become a little bit more sensitive, even being around other people, because our energies are going to be so strong at this time, and they're going to be so amplified that some people might be way worse than they generally are, while others might be more compassionate and caring because they can feel that energy. But a lot of the times too, our time is gonna be kind of interesting when we're transitioning from, eventually we're gonna be transitioning out of seasons too, which, I mean, depending on where you're living, that's gonna be different for everyone, but we're transitioning out of different phases and different seasons, and we're moving on to a new way of seeing and looking at things. And here we also have the 12th house. So we have Pisces domain. So this is Pisces and then Pisces. So Pisces is a little bit significant. I kind of was thinking about talking about this as well. So even a Pisces rising, even Pisces ascendant or their rising, Pisces moon or Pisces sun could even get very affected by it as well. A lot of the water signs will be more sensitive, I think, than most, including fire signs. So water signs and fire signs are going to be like noticing it, I think, a little bit more on average. But that doesn't mean that, you know, an earth sign, because again, we have all four elements. I'm just saying that if you have predominant earth or predominant, you know, if you have predominant fire or predominant water, you might notice things a little bit more, be a little more sensitive. And right now, everybody's kind of in this awkward phase where they don't really feel like they're on solid ground. A lot of people, like I kept saying, everybody I've talked to, they have something significant happening, and it's shaping the way that they are even handling the world too. I've noticed that some people are starting to slowly mature. People are learning to be a little bit more accountable for their actions, while some still play the game. But when we're transitioning, we're ascending a little bit higher. You know, the next generation is going to have to step up too, because unfortunately, the way that we have impacted our planet, we're starting to see our consequences. We're starting to see things in a whole new way. And it's like we're kind of noticing how man can be very destructive. And right now some people are just being really like more people are being conscious. Like, for instance, at my work, we're trying not to have straws anymore because how it pollutes the ocean, and you know how straws aren't very, there's a lot of things to it, but like we're trying to be more conscious at work. I've noticed that a lot of people that I've been around have been more conscious with different things. Everybody has their own way, but it almost feels like everybody that I've talked to, they found something that they can be a little bit careful with that so it doesn't impact the earth as much. You know, we're breaking out of those cycles into a new way of looking at things. So we have hold on to your vision, and that's in the fixed moon. So we are actually, right now, I mean, Sirian is a fixed planet, so we're having a lot of fixed signs happening, and a lot of the people right now, we're having to learn to use our imaginations, which is kind of hard for some people because right now, the way that the world is going and the way that things are happening, a lot of people are being more distracted and they're not seeing things. They're not really holding the vision for themselves. A lot of people don't know what their future holds. So how can you hold a vision for something if you yourself don't really know? And it's like surrendering to the divine in the full moon. This is going to be a very powerful full moon for this month. And I also do believe that not only are we transitioning from one phase to a next phase, but everybody is going to have a different way of viewing the world. So sharing those ways and sharing the way that we're viewing it, a lot of people are changing for the better and some are changing for the worse. So we're kind of seeing the more of the divide of who's going to rise and who's going to fall. Just because things are becoming more translucent and more apparent. And I believe a lot of people right now are having a hard time surrendering and having a hard time trusting the universe, especially when some people can barely afford to pay their bills. So a lot of people right now are struggling, but they're struggling because that's building character, plus everybody struggles at different times. So some people right now are struggling because that's a cycle that they're going into, but eventually they're going to come out of. And there are some people that have already gone through their suffering and are now going into a better cycle. So we're seeing the different cycle shifts and changes, and everybody's going to be experiencing some kind of thing that's going to test their way of seeing the world and their way of if they're going to evolve themselves or not. So here we have health. Yeah, a lot of people right now are focusing on their health. A lot of people are worried about their health. And you know, it makes sense because if you're not taking care of yourself, you know, especially right now how everyone's worrying about what's going on in the world, it's a lot of people I've talked to have had health issues, and then that makes them stress a little bit more. And you know, we're in a world right now where we're just full of sick people, and we just keep getting sicker and sicker, and even our children at a younger age keeps getting sick. And you think that by now we would be healthier people, you know, than maybe even our ancestors, but our ancestors were way healthier than we were. And a lot of people now are really putting their own health into their own hands, because a lot of people too are even realizing that we can't just rely on doctors to help us. And a lot of people right now they're kind of in a state of consistent worrying. And not only that, but because we get stuck in a state of stress, we lower our immune system. We do things that break down our cells, breaking down our DNA. And not only that, but we're also not paying attention to what is important, which is what are we eating? What kind of chemicals are we consuming every single day? I would look at the back of boxes of food or just like anything, and if I can't pronounce 3 of those ingredients, which half of them are like chemically based, then I can't eat it. And that's what I tell myself, because I have to remind myself that those were not meant to be put into my body. And what is natural, which is natural plants and foods, that is healthier for me. And so I try and live on a more healthier diet, because I know that your health is your wealth. If you are keeping good care of your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, you're going to age better. You're going to have a lot less stress. You're going to be a lot, people need to start incorporating different forms. I go on walks with my dogs all the time. And to me, that is a walking meditation. I meditate while I'm walking, even if I'm listening to music or if I'm not. I'm always listening to the birds chirping. I'm out in the sunlight. It's good for me. It boosts my mood. It helps my circulation. It moves my lymphatic system. Um, Oftentimes I've put a lot of, because I've gotten sick most of the time over the years, I started working on my health, and now that everyone's worried about their health, I'm completely like, nope, I have my health in control because I understand, because I've already gone through that tough cycle too. So we're all going through it right now, and we're all experiencing it in different ups and downs. And people's health, you know, a lot of the times, we don't hear doctors talking about the lymphatic system, which is a pity because that is so important. I'm obsessed with Chinese medicine. I love it. I love acupuncture and I love understanding the meridians and everything. And, in Chinese medicine, they say your kidneys is what gives you your vitality. It's what gives you, it reduces your aging, it reduces your stress, and it's what keeps you going. It's what keeps you alive. And what they mean by that is they believe that they have three kidneys in the body, and that is your right kidney, your left kidney, and your skin. So if you have acne or eczema or you have anything going on with your skin, it is associated with those kidneys. And your kidneys filter, your spleen filters, your liver filters, but your spleen filters things and then puts it back into the lymphatic system. And you have to think too, when you sweat, you're sweating out toxins and it's pushing it out because your lymphatic system are outlining your blood vessels and they're just above the skin. So when you massage gently or, try dry brushing or doing different things to push that lymph nodes, just jumping up and down for 10 to 5 minutes a day, that moves your lymph. Just walking around, not wearing tight clothing. Don't restrict your clothing, things like this. The lymphatic system is what boosts your immune system because your lymphatic system is your immune system. It filters things out, it pushes out the toxins, it checks through, make sure there's like checking points throughout your lymphatic system that make sure that none of the bad bacteria or certain things are there. So it kind of purifies things, and you have to keep it moving or you have toxic buildup and it can get you very ill and very sick. And your lymphs are located in your face, your neck specifically too, on the sides of your neck and in the upper part of your neck, your armpits and your inner thigh area, kind of to where your groin is. So pretty much when you think about it, it's wherever you have movement, because you can move your neck, you can move your arms, you can move your legs. Those are the pump wastes for your lymphatic system. So, there's different things that you can do, but I will say this though, because I'm kind of on a tangent, so I'm sorry, bear with me, but I think this is important. When you look at videos for dry brushing, or if you guys do any dry brushing or any lymphatic drainage, people always say, stroke towards the heart, your heart. The reason I believe that they think this is they have it all kind of a little wrong. You have lymphs around your breasts area, and same with men around their pecs. They have lymphs. They have lymphatic there. But it's not where your lymph will drain. They're just different parts of it that are there. So what I highly recommend is when you do push it down from the neck, push it towards your heart, but then push it towards that armpit on your heart. Don't leave it in your heart because that's toxic buildup inside your heart. And when I would do that, it would actually cause me a lot of pain. I'd get heart pains and stuff. And I realized, that's like, because if you think about it, it's almost like an analogy. Your heart is like the kitchen of your home. You want to keep it clean. You want to keep it going. You need the kitchen to keep running, right? So you have to clean the appliances. You have to make sure that things are taken care of. And so that's what your heart's doing. It's pumping out that blood. It's keeping the circulation going. You don't want to throw trash all over your kitchen and let it sit there for weeks and months. That is going to get you sick. So don't do that to your heart. Push the lymph away from the heart towards your armpit, and then push it all the way down near your stomach area, down there more, because don't leave that in your heart. I always get frustrated when I hear people say, oh, push the lymph into your heart. I'm sorry, but I just had to go on that tangent. It's just, it's not good advice when people say that, and it's not dissing anybody, but it's like, that's, your heart pumps the blood, it doesn't pump the lymph. So, that's kind of why I wanted to bring that up, push it away from the heart, not towards the heart. So that's my little rant. But yes, moving on, because I can talk about health all day long. We have indecision. So a lot of people right now are kind of in that state of indecision, especially when it does come with their health or their financial decisions or what they need or want to do. A lot of people are even indecision about traveling too. I know that there are still a lot of people that travel where I live, because my place is a little bit of a tourist town kind of an area, and we still get quite a bit of people coming through, but there's a lot of people that can't really travel right now, and just all of these different types of things going on. A lot of people are in indecision of even spending their money, because a lot of people are in fear of they're in fear of losing. People are terrified of losing their homes or their money. A lot of people are being kind of stingy right now, while others aren't so worried because they were ready or prepared for it. And some people aren't really damaged by this impact, while others are. So it kind of just depends. I feel like the ones you kind of get to pick out a little bit of what's happening, because even in little simple things in our life, a lot of people can be right now a little undecisive, because so many things are happening that a lot of people don't want more change in their life. So we have guilt in the reverse. And what was funny is I was thinking about this as well when I brought up guilt, especially with the Princess of Cups, because a lot of people right now are experiencing guilt. They're experiencing all of these negative emotions. And right now, guilt is, I would say, on a broader spectrum for the average people right now, because this is right now what I'm talking about is everybody on a broad scale, what's happening on a collective scale. So a lot of people right now are experiencing letting go of guilt and envy, being jealous of what other people own or have that they don't have. So right now, a lot of people are kind of in opposition to what they once are. They're having to balance and change parts of their lives and work through their beliefs or their thought process of how they see things or how they might view things. Because a lot of people right now, we're going through a lot of mass change, and it's keeping a lot of people kind of stuck, because a lot of people right now are kind of, they're more insecure. Right now, a lot of us are in that state of insecurity. We have body image issues, or we have images of other people and other perspectives and just different things like that. A lot of us are just going through a lot of insecurities. And we have here guidance, support, love, signs, and directions. So I believe that right now the universe is kind of guiding people in the right direction, or trying to, everybody has their own, I always like to think that everybody has their own guardian angel, or somebody always looking after them on the other end, making sure that your soul is in alignment with yourself, even if it is your own soul, your own higher self. You know, we have people that try to guide us every single day in the right direction, because we are here to evolve. It's like a school. We're here to learn. And that's why life can be so difficult and be so harsh or be so hard to deal with, because that's kind of the point of life, is to find your way back to self, to find your way back to that piece of you that is in harmony. And that's why we're having to move away from guilt, envy, indecision, not taking care of our health. You know, a lot of people, they just don't think about the consequences that they could do for themselves. They just think about the short-term pleasures. They don't think about the long-term dysfunction or the long-term issues that could cause. So now we're shifting things back to emotional balance. Stability, harmony, peace, fluidity. We're learning to be able to release negative emotions that are trapped in our psyches and allowing things to come back up to the surface and start to heal all of these emotions and start to find that harmony and that balance within ourselves, each individually, but on a massive scale. That's what's kind of happening, you know. And a lot of us are kind of unaware that pretty much everybody around us are going through similar things, but just in different ways, because our lives are so vastly different and unique. But everybody's going through some form of emotional transformation or some form of discomfort that is shifting and changing us to be somebody better than who we once were. So here we have in the reverse, seeing, perspective, truth, knowledge, and clarity. A lot of us are still kind of hidden in the dark, not really seeing things for what they truly are. Like I said, a lot of people's view on the world right now is under like a fear-based lens, or they have a skewed way of viewing things. A lot of people are not seeing the truth, while some are seeing the truth. And it just depends on what cycle this person is in. So right now, a mass majority of people could be kind of considered asleep right now too, where they're believing everything that they're told. They're walking through life kind of in a daze. They're not seeing things as clear, or some people can. So it's not that you're better than this person, or because if you can see past the illusions for what the world really is and see past things that are even your own self, it doesn't mean that you're a better person or that you're more spiritually awoke. It just means that you are in a different cycle than another person. So a lot of us are having to be aware of that too, that we all might not be seeing the same thing, and that we are having our own different individual experience and our own individual different personalities, and we're seeing things through our own way of how we were raised and born to see the world. And so people are going and shifting through, and they're seeing, so some people are just in consistent state of misery, so that's all they're seeing, while some are seeing the beauty and joy of life, and it just keeps going through. So it kind of, imagine everybody's perspective is just feeding into the bigger image of what reality really is. So we also have here love, kindness, benevolence, sharing, and receiving. And it's in the reverse. And it's because a lot of people have their heart chakras still closed. It's because a lot of people are still needing to find that emotional balance within themselves. They're needing to find back that guidance back to self, which is self-love. When we do think about people as well that could be considered just, it's hard to explain, but there are some people that you think, how is it that they even exist? You know, they could be so cruel, or they could have all these things going on. And oftentimes it's not because this person deserves it. It's because that there are things that we are learning, there are things that we are creating, and our reality is showing us if we don't love ourselves, then there are going to be people around us that aren't going to love themselves and aren't going to love you. So a lot of people, that is their reality right now, is they're living in a world where it's dark, scary, it's fearful. Some people are still in that fight or flight response, and they're running on a program. They're running on a stress inducing like program, and they're eating terrible food, they're not sleeping properly, they get up, they go to work, they go home, they deal with dysfunction after dysfunction, and these people aren't really living, or they're not really expanding. And it's not that these people are bad or anything like that, it's just that's in the reality that they're in. They haven't quite moved out of that phase, and some people never do in this lifetime while others do. So it just depends, but like I said, we're all seeing things through our own perspective and lenses right now. And a lot of people might clash with belief systems, and a lot of people's emotions might be running kind of high. Some people might be seeming more grouchy and rude, while others seem to be a little bit more mellow. Or it's like people are kind of showing, if you are if you're emotionally unbalanced person, which most people are, you'll start to see that in people. You'll start to see that imbalance in people more and more noticeable than it was maybe even a couple of weeks or months ago. You know, you'll just start to notice little things. So the blessings that I like to think about are the things that are going to be happening. Chop wood. A lot of people, my thought is get to work. Start focusing on things that are important. You know, when we think about the fruits of our labors, you know, I think about 6 and 4 as being kind of, because, you know, 4 plus 2 equals 6. When you think about also just like number 6, I also think about seeds and things, or just, when you open up certain peppers and things, sometimes they'll have 6 chambers or 4 chambers. And to me, it's like we're reaping what we're sowing. If you've been working hard, you're going to start showing and reaping those benefits. If you're the type of person that just watching somebody chop the wood and doing all the work, but you're not doing anything, these people aren't going to see the rewards. They're not going to see the benefits because they didn't put in that hard work. And so for a lot of people, if you put in a lot of dedication and hard work, especially into yourselves, that's going to really reflect and show externally. So we have here blessed in the reverse, and it's 22, which is a master number. So while it's in the reverse, it's like I was saying, a lot of people are so ungrateful for the things that they have that they're always like envious, right? They're always envious of the things they don't have. So if you're always in that perpetual state of envy and always wanting what the other person has, you're never grateful for what you have. So when people have blessings in their lives, they either bypass it, they don't acknowledge it, or if they do acknowledge it, they're not that grateful for it because so-and-so has it better. And it's like we're just perpetuating these cycles, and a lot of us are learning to break out of that cycle. But on a massive scale, it's still a cycle that needs to be through. Like I'm saying, this is a massive scale right now of what's happening. A lot of people are finding guidance, but we're having to learn to see things from a whole new perspective, which is being grateful for the blessings that we have, grateful for the things that we are accumulating into our lives. And a lot of the times people are just not seeing that. So that's kind of what's happening.